Can everybody hear me all right? Yeah, I'll put that down. Bring it up. Well, first off, thank you so much for giving up your Saturday to come along. We really appreciate it. And that was a really good comment. Did everybody hear that? Thank you. I was brought down to this fire immediately after the tragic accident that took Steve Asquith from us. He's a local personality, obviously. He's a member of a very tight professional group of fire pilots that we use every year on fires, and I'm absolutely gutted that we've lost Steve. And my heart goes out to his family, his friends, and to the professional group of pilots that are still flying up in that fire. Yeah, and we'll take that on behalf of Steve. I also want to thank all of our firefighters, urban, rural, career and volunteers, the military firefighters, the dock firefighters, and the homeowners that have got out and fought this fire. A courageous effort, a gut-wrenching effort when you yourselves are impacted, and we have firefighters on that fire that they themselves have lost their homes, their families have been evacuated, and guess what? They're still out on the shovel, on the hose, attempting to get this thing under control. And I will forever have respect for what those people do. Now we will go through a review of the management of this fire. It's normal practice anyway. We do a debrief, an internal debrief around operational matters, and then we have a formal audit called a fire review. Lessons learned, there's always lessons learned from such an incident as these. This isn't a linear event. We don't start with A, we add B, and we end up with C. It's highly, highly complex. There is a large number of interactive factors, and for a fire point of view, it comes down to the terrain, the fuels and the weather. And all three of those have conspired to give you what you've seen over the last week. Some of the fire activity on this fire is on another level. I've seen big fires. I've fought fires in Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Northern California, New South Wales, Victoria and all over New Zealand. This fire was on another level. There was a fire tornado that took off in the middle of the run. Did anyone see the big run a few days ago? I can't remember which day it was. That huge column that went up. At the heart of that column there was a fire tornado. It was 800 metres wide, and the tornado that was going up, the fire wheel was the width of this room, and it went up to about 180 feet. I haven't seen that before. I just haven't seen that before, even in all those other fires. The energy that those crews and those fire pilots are trying to combat at its height is the equivalent of 100,000 kilowatts, and I'll put that in perspective for you. That's 100,000 one-bar heaters. You know the old one-bar heaters we used to have when we were kids? 100,000 of those per metre of fire front. That's how much heat is coming off that fire. That's how much energy is in that fireground. Those crews, those volunteer crews, those pilots are trying to deal with the energy of something like 2 to 3 atom bombs. That's how much energy is on that fireground. And if you think it's gone away because we've had a little bit of drizzle, and someone coined the phrase spit on a barbecue, and I think that was me. Actually it was. It's absolutely true. There's still huge heat in that fireground, and I've been on the receiving end of getting it wrong, where we've gone, phew, won that one, start to walk away, the wind changes, the temperature goes up, and importantly for fire, the relative humidity goes down, the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. And if it gets down below 30, we're going to have extreme fire behaviour. And there's areas on that fire right now that if we get those conditions, it's going to kick. It's a technical term for me, it's going to explode out of the blocks again. And we've worked so hard to put a containment around that so it doesn't come back and bite the communities, that we can't afford to have that happen. So that is why we're still working extremely hard on this fire. We're trying to put a black line, if you will, right around it. So our crews are going 10 metres in off the fire edge and killing everything in. And it's 29 kilometres the whole way around that fire. It's 2,500 hectares. If you walk the perimeter, it's just under 30 kilometres. And then those crews are going to go back and they're going to put another 10 metres in behind that. And guess what? Between the fire flanks on this side that are directly in the path of your homes, your communities, we're now laying retardant. And I don't know if you've seen it, but those fixed wing bombers that are coming in, as soon as the cloud allows them the ceiling, we will get them in again. And they'll lay a retardant line between the fire and your homes. And that takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of skill on behalf of pilots to do that. And it's sort of a big purple mud that comes out. It's a retardant that will stop the fire burning within those fuels. There's a lot of physics behind it. That's just another line of control that we're attempting to put in to keep this fire from getting out and once again impacting communities. We've had big fires in New Zealand before. I've managed big fires just in the last 9 months, 10 months up in Marlborough. We've had 1,200, 2,000 hectares go up, but it's been up in forest land. Yes, we've lost $10 million worth of forestry, but it really wasn't impacting on the communities. This fire is unique in New Zealand. It's unique in the fact that it has impacted so many communities, so many. And as a fire manager, when I'm looking at maps, when I'm looking at the aeronautical maps and the flight paths for our aircraft, and I see Westmoreland, I see Kashmir Valley, Shalimar Drive, up until this meeting, they were just names on a map. They were locations for us to put our tactical resource. When the chairman of the meeting asked for all of you people to put your hands up, Shalimar Drive, Westmoreland, Dyers Pass, Marlies, all of these names, they're no longer Sector Alpha, Bravo and Charlie because we're very creative in our names. You guys have now put the human face to those areas, and I thank you sincerely for that. I come from a large family, so I know the value of kinship. I know the value of community. And I'm not a religious man, but the saying in the back, well, the last line says, love your neighbour as yourself. Now's the time for you to do that. Now's the time to stand up for your community. Yes, you're going to have some searching questions for us, and we deserve that rigour. We deserve that audit, and we will do our best to answer those questions. But and we'll handle that. But right now, you need to love your neighbour as yourself, because the community needs to stand up. We can do so much. We can do all the technical stuff around firefighting, and you learn from books and you do it through the hard yards. And I have to apologise, I've just come off the fire line, so I look like I've been dragged through a horse hedge backwards. And these guys are all sharply dressed. So apologies, gentlemen. Yeah, we can do all the technical stuff around firefighting. But the real fight, the real battle starts now. How do we stand back up a community? We can build a home. We can build structures, we can build roads. There's a bridge that's been taken out because one of our heavy tankers basically broke it. Apologies to the council. But what we can't do is rebuild lives. We can't rebuild communities. The only people in the room that can rebuild those communities are you. And we and the authorities here will do all we can to assist from a technical and a support point of view. But you have to make the decision to stand your community up. We'll suffer the audit, we have to. We're spending a lot of public money. We'll suffer that audit and we'll take the consequences and we'll learn the lessons and move on. But we can't fix your communities. Only you can do that. And for the people that have lost homes, my heart goes out to you. I am gutted that we lost homes. I'm extremely gutted that we've lost homes. I've lost homes in fires before. And I've had to stand up in similar crowds and explain why we lost them. I've also had to stand up or ring Mrs. Smith and tell Mrs. Smith why her son isn't coming home. And that is an extremely hard thing to do. And standing up here and saying, I apologise for the fact that we as a fire group lost those homes, it cuts me to the core. But I'd also tell you this, there is no way on God's earth that we could save those homes. We did everything we possibly could. But what we're not going to do for a house is throw someone's life away. We'll go to the edge, and sometimes we'll push a little bit more, but I'm not going, you can criticise me for this if you will, but I'm not going to put someone's life, someone's family at risk, undue risk, for the sake of trying to save bricks and mortar. We can put bricks and mortar. Bricks and mortar can be rebuilt, families can't, and we're having to deal with a family that won't have the husband coming back. And that's a tragedy, and it's going to haunt us for the rest of our lives. I've lost firefighters before, and I can name every single one. So just in finishing, the fire is still hot. If you look out the side of the window now, even this little bit of heat as the northeasterly low cloud is starting to lift and break up, good old Canterbury weather coming back in. As it does that, you'll see the smoke popping out there. And so our commitment to you is we're keeping our fleet of 16 aircraft, we're keeping our 150 urban and rural firefighters, we're keeping our fleet of 40 heavy tankers and I think it's around 40 to 50 appliances, urban appliances. We're going to keep them on station. And the reason we're going to do that is not because we like playing with big boys' toys. It's because they're there to protect you. And we'll do that for as long as it takes and for as much grit and effort that it takes, so that when we leave this fire ground, there is no threat to you, your homes and your families. And I'll leave with that, the commitment that we'll do everything possible to ensure you have the chance to rebuild your communities, and I can only say I wish you all the very best with standing up for your community, talking to your neighbour, looking out for each other, and being grateful for the work that our people on the ground and our fire pilots have done for you and for the rest of Christchurch. So I'll leave it with that.
Thank you. Could we once again just acknowledge the responders that Richard has under his command?